Hello, everybody, and welcome to it. Whoa, I was a little close there. Welcome to another episode of Cullen on Film. You can see us live right now on the Cullen on Film channel on Facebook, as well as a shared universe. So we're running right now on two things. And right now we have guest filmmaker, writer, director, DJ Higgins. How are you?
Great, man. I appreciate the invite. As I said on my Facebook and Instagram, I was excited when you asked me because you've always supported me, and you were one of the first guys to reach out in the first film I ever made, which really got everything started in terms of the festival circuit. Knowing that someone appreciates your work, so I'm a pretty loyal CJ Cullen fan here.
Nice. So, it's a new show that we're doing. It's about, we do about 30 minutes one-on-ones, and sometimes we have like a bunch of people like cast or crew from the shorts, and we have like a Brady Bunch thing going on here. So we've had all different types of episodes, and I originally did it for school. We usually have people come in and talk in the classroom, and obviously we couldn't do that. So I'm like, how am I going to do that? We're doing online school. So I'm like, this is it. This is the ticket. And we just keep going. So I'm glad to have you, and we'll get into it. So we just basically talk about, film and your career and how you got started. So we'll start off. You're a filmmaker. How did you get started in this business from the beginning?
So, I've always had a lot of ADD, and not just to throw the word out. I've been tested, and some of the results I came back positive, and they were like, well, you kind of have it, so you have to deal with it, whether you want to get medicated or not. It's up to you. But on top of drinking about 6 cups of coffee a day, I have a ton of interest. And the only thing that could kind of ever keep me focused, even when I was a little kid, was Friday night movies. Mm-hmm. So there was a time where I was a really competitive runner in high school. So Friday nights before a track meet, I played a bunch of different sports, which I tried to put in my movies. I was a wide receiver. I played right wing in hockey, got a couple concussions. But, in high school, predominantly, I was a runner. And my father and I had this awesome ritual where every Friday night we'd go to Blockbuster, and we'd comb through that store. And it was the most badass thing in the world that I remember, because my dad would be like, you could spend, $7, you can get 2 movies. And he would say, well, here's a movie that you have to see, Rocky 1 or 2 or 3. And he'd explain it to me as a kid. And then we'd read the back, and he says, but choose wise, this is a classic, and then something new would come out, and we'd kind of talk about the cover and whatnot. We'd get pizza and go home. And I bring it up because it's not like I was raging on a Friday night at that point. I was trying to watch a movie and then get up and run track. But I remember, and I remember really having this feeling in high school, especially with a lot of Denzel Washington movies at the time, where I was so focused and so entrenched in the film that I didn't want to go back to the real world. I said, I hope this movie never ends, and that was like a surreal utopia when you're in another world and you're like, I don't want to go back to real life. And when the credits came, I was disappointed. Yeah. And, and the thought of becoming a filmmaker at that point, I'm 34. So we're talking, high school was 18 years ago. Not 18, is the math wrong? Yeah. So,
it goes quick, man.
And, it goes quick. And the thought of becoming a filmmaker wasn't realistic because, I was like, how do I get the equipment? And, how does one do that? So I went to college. I was a business major, didn't really like it that much. And, longer story shorter, I ended up doing a master's in Italian, and I moved to Italy for a while. And I had a professor named Antonio Vitti who really took me under his wing, and he introduced me to neorealism. And that was a time post World War II when Italian filmmakers didn't have the money. So they worked with unprofessional actors. They didn't have money to light, so they used natural lighting. They just basically were guerrilla filmmakers with a great story. I prefer no excuse filmmaking, though. And they just got out and were willing to be brave and tell great stories with whatever they could. And, such films as Bicycle Thieves, Ladri di Bicicletta, and Rome Open City, they were low budget films that I thought these are better than multi-million-dollar productions. And then my uncle Louis, who's been a big part of my life ever since I was a kid, said, you love movies so much. That's all you kind of talk about. He said Sacred Heart University has a film school opening up for working professionals. So 1 year masters, and it's Tuesday and Thursdays. And he really pushed me. He said, you've always been artistic, and I paint and whatnot. And he says, why don't you try that out? And that's where I met Julie Robinson.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where you met your producer, huh?
Yeah, and so much more than a producer. I mean, Julie in this industry, I'm kind of cynical, where I think a lot of people talk too much rather than actually make movies. And that's another thing I like about you and Chris, that you guys are walking your talk, and you really love filmmakers. And
I wish we had more time to keep going and doing more and more, but time is. I wish
Yeah, man. But you guys, like, I say it all the time, and it's genuine. And Julie knows, like, the Brightside Tavern is one of my all-time favorite film festivals because it's fun. And there's people out there like Mike Vedsa and Tom Bragg, and people that you're hanging out with all the time, Larry Rosen, that you're, like I said, Chris Capacity, another great guy, Steve, and you look forward to seeing these people. I met Katerina Mitchell there, and that led to her festival. So, you guys just do a kick-ass job all around. But, to really talk about filmmaking without Julie, none of this is remotely possible, because not only is she a producer, but she's there, a loyal friend too,
So you met there at Sacred Heart? Is that during classes there? That's where you met, right?
Well, funny story that I shouldn't tell, but I'll tell it. The first assignment was to find somebody's script and you direct it, and then they find your script and direct it. So I did not like this idea, and I love Julie's script. So I said to Julie, and she liked my script. I said, why don't we kind of do something shady, and you direct yours and I'll direct mine, and we'll just say we co-directed it. And and from there, a friendship was born, because we got in a lot of trouble at that point. Everyone was pissed off, but we both realized that we had a good sense of humor, and part of being a filmmaker is having your vision and fighting for it. So from there, Julie's also one of my best friends. So it's not only a partner; it's a very tight.
So since then, the two of you collaborated on pretty much everything, right? Everything you did?
On everything. On everything. Yeah, there hasn't been one project put together that we haven't done together.
And then it all started. Was your first short film? Was that first short film that I know that you did was Meet Mario that was out there? Was that the first one, or did you do ones before that? Or
so the cool thing about there's all of this hoopla around film school, and you have. We forget that the original movie brats, which John Gallagher always talks about, Scorsese, George Lucas, Spielberg, and Coppola, they went to film school, but they worked together, and they helped each other out. And I believe in the value of film school, because it allows you to collaborate with a ton of people, but most importantly, it allows you to make a lot of mistakes. So I, shot 3 or 4 films before it that were seriously flawed. And you get the mistakes out, and you still make mistakes. Every film has problems, but
you learn from there to how to make a film on like almost no budget or low budget films. That's like the first step.
Yeah, and that was why I went to film school, man. Like, anybody at Sacred Heart knows that I was hustling all the time, man. I was involved in every single project. I shot a commercial with the UFC gym. I mean, I figured, if you got to go out and take a loan for, at the time, I think it was like $33K. If I can pump out 10, 20 movies and have a reel, and get people to work on my project for free, and I'll work on their projects for free, that's going to exceed the cost. And that was actually what happened with Meet Mario, the feature. We shot the short,
feature,
and we got the whole school involved. And the entire school was, gaffer and editing, and it was cool. So
that is so. Did you go right from the short to the feature? Was that the second one, or did you have did you do another short before that?
So I think you actually saw the original Meet Mario, which was just a short. And
yes.
So this guy named Jerry George, he needed a project, and I gave him the script, and he loved it. And actually at Ken Vecchio's film festival, we won best short there. And Ken's son is Mario.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there as a consultant, and Jerry directed the first project, and I wrote it, and I saw a lot of people were going crazy over it. So I said, why don't we redo this? Why don't we, have a Kickstarter campaign? I'll direct it. Julie will step on. She did a lot of rewrites and produced it as well. We actually wrote the feature together. And then we'll shoot a new short, push that out, try to get attention, and then find and gather money and direct, attention to Kickstarter to raise the feature. And the whole thing was we were trying to do the feature for like $10K, and no one really believed that. And it cost a lot more than $10K, but it wasn't $100,000. We were so.
And then so that went around, and then it's tough to get those features going. But then you went back and you started doing some more shorts, like Pascal's Magic Veal.
Yeah, I mean, so the tricky thing, like at that time, Instagram wasn't where it is now. The iPhone's camera wasn't shooting 4K, and you couldn't play.
Not yet, yeah. Not yet, right? Yeah.
No, and this is only 6 years ago.
I know, right? It wasn't that long ago, but yeah, it wasn't around yet. No.
Nah, man, and like now, like the iPhone 11, the quality is just remarkable. So at that time, I was really convinced you got to shoot a feature, so you could sit at that table.
Yeah.
Maybe you would sit in the back and no one would acknowledge you, but you still had a seat at the table saying, I get how hard it is to put something together, over an hour. And then I kind of switched gears, saying, if you could do a really tight, phenomenal short project, shop it around and say, hey, look, if you like this, the next hour and 20 minutes will look just like this. And that proved to be a change in I guess a business philosophy where, you're always trying to showcase this as the first step to something bigger. And those are all the shorts that I write. It's not just, Pasquale's I tried to launch as also a series.
Mm-hmm. And that was a comedy, and then you did another Italian comedy. So you went the comedy route, but then you went back to the tough dramas as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you prefer to do? Do you prefer to write the comedy or the dramas? What's your preference? Or does it matter?
Well, Pasquale's Magic Veal, I love comedy's my favorite.
Yeah.
Comedy is my absolute favorite but they're always dark comedies.
Darkish, dark comedies,
so exactly, because Pasquale's Magic Veal is at the end of the day pretty dark. It's about contemporary relationships not being worth it. So you're laughing, but you're laughing at like failed relationships, which is actually pretty heavy. And it's such a great feeling as the writer to sit in the back of the room and watch people actually laugh at your stuff. You feel like your movie, I guess in a strange way, gives something every time it's shown, which in my mind, I always thought great film is a form of generosity because it's contributing to somebody's life. The dark stuff came from just the need to try and combat, the heroin epidemic and whatnot. But it's really heavy. Smack, after even editing it and watching it so many times, it starts to wear on your psyche. So
yeah, that was supposed to be a series, or you did a bunch of shorts and then you made the longer short for that. Was that supposed to be a series?
Yeah. So, well, actually, so what ended up happening with that was the idea. You know, I worked with Anais, Craig Ravella, and Alex Montaldo, and they were so good in all of these projects that we just kept on saying, these people are so much. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. And a couple of bucks were thrown here, and a couple of bucks were thrown there. You know, we were working with Clap It, and eventually we popped off 4 because I thought, you know, there could be some relevance we could put together as a feature. And what I did right before this pandemic is I actually shot with Craig and Anais another 40 minutes. So I have a feature edited.
Oh, wow.
And it's a mockumentary. It's wild, bro. It's yeah. So I've been editing it during, you know, this break.
That's good. So you know, a lot of people were like just getting started and getting ready to do something, and this happened. So, but there are some people that like just shot stuff, and then they had all this time to edit. So like they're just been. I've talked to some filmmakers. They're like, yeah, I've just been editing for like 2 months.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
It makes me like, I do stuff with the students in school, but I'm like, I wish I was sitting here editing all day, but I'm busy enough with schoolwork because we still have to teach online. So I don't know if you were still teaching online at all, or.
Oh yeah. it's
different.
Well, you know what it is? I've taught online at Mercy College for the last 10 years, and that's an online course that you sign up for, though.
Yeah. So
these kids didn't sign up for it. Yeah.
No, like, you know, when I'm teaching TV film, you got to show them you're there, they're filming, they're working, you know, and now we're online. So not everyone has a camera, not everyone has an editor. It hasn't, you know, right. It's like going back to TV film 1. Like, this is how you do this. Read this, do this, do this.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I don't think teaching film or language online is easy.
No, just in the intro. If you took like intro to film or intro to TV, yeah, I could see that because you're learning all the basics and stuff. But you know, I teach 2 advanced classes, and they're like, "Where's the camera? Let's shoot. Let's film." Like, I can't do it, man.
Oh man, tough.
Yeah,
but you got to have a sense of humor. I mean, I always tell the kids, I'm like, let's just do our best. You know, some people bug out over this, and it's, hey, we're lucky that we have technology. We're lucky. That, we're healthy.
Absolutely. So, I wish it wasn't, but you got to make things happen. So this is why I've been doing this, making it happen. So still making connections, getting filmmakers out there. If you have any, if we could see any of your short films, are they out there like on Amazon or things like that? You could promote them, and Christian will put it up on the screen there for like where you could see it. So,
oh, great. So Meet Mario is on Amazon Prime. Okay.
The feature or the short or both, or
the feature. And that was my first film, which, you try not to be sensitive, but there's a couple comments where people ripped it apart, and it's like the movie was made on no money at all.
They do that a lot. Yeah. If you look at the films that were made on like nothing, like we've done horror films, and there are people that watch it on Amazon, but they will comment like, "Oh, it's cheaply made." No crap, it's cheaply made,
dude. Yeah, and I try not. You can't be sensitive.
Yeah,
But like, it aggravates me that you don't know what you're watching. I mean, a low budget film's $1 million, and we're making these movies on shoestrings.
Yeah, I saw a comment once on one of the films I worked on that it was probably like a $10,000 film.
Yeah, bro. Exactly.
They go, man, this is only made for like $1 million, and I was like, thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's about 990,000,000 more than it actually was,
Dude. And I find that frustrating though. Like, these people, they don't realize that we're not making money on a back end. Like if any money's to be made at all in independent film in New York City, it's a front end deal, and even that's tough to structure. So, I mean, you have to have over 1 million views on Amazon to even make a couple bucks.
Yeah. And it kept getting
So,
lower, right? It kept getting lower and lower. They keep changing it because I guess they can.
yeah, and my whole thing is, so Santino was a film that we got a grant from the Russo brothers and NIAF with, and I work with people that I like continuously. If I have a bad experience with somebody, I don't tend to ever call them back, no matter how talented they are. So I work a lot with Artie Pasquale. He's been in 3 of our movies.
Yeah.
Christina Fontanelli, she was in Santino, and that was really cool because she's actually a very accomplished filmmaker. Chris McAllister, another guy who's appeared multiple times. Joe D'Onofrio, who we both love. I mean, just a cool, humble guy. Danny Grimaldi was a fantastic guy to work with because he's an acting teacher. He's got his PhD in mathematics.
Yeah, it was great talking to him at the Bright Side when he came by. Like, it was like, yeah, you're a professor in math. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and he's so, I mean, if you saw Pasquale's Magic Veal we put out now, it was on Amazon, then Distributor went out of business, and that was a fiasco. So I put it on YouTube for free. So if you check, type in Pasquale's Magic Veal and then space DJ Higgins, it'll come up. We got a couple of views there. But yeah, Danny was like so good. And he at one point was praying in Latin, and we shot that movie in 2 days, and working with Vinny Pastore. I mean, I was a huge fan of Vinny on The Sopranos. So, working with these guys, same thing with Joey, Joe, I reached out to Joe 6 years ago, and I was like, I loved you in Bronx Tale. Would you like to take a look at something I'm doing? And then he put me through the proper avenues, so it's cool when you're a fan making movies.
Yeah, I worked with Joe on a feature, and we had a great time. So he's always supports the festivals. He's always showing up. He had a bunch of shorts on it, so it's always fun to see. I haven't seen him in a while, but I think he was going to do a show coming up. Him and Chris from Goodfellas. They were doing like a 2-man show thing, kind of, and then all this happened. So who knows? Hopefully it will happen soon, because I met. I was with Artie actually at one of the cons. It wasn't Sopranos con, but it was like one of the cons up north. And someone pulled the fire drill, so I'm hanging out with him, and he's like, "Oh, come on with me." So I'm sitting there like at his like table, and everyone's and just having a blast with everybody. It was so much fun. Like everyone, it was all different types of people, but there was the Goodfella guys, the Sopranos, and then like all other actors all over the place signing autographs and stuff. And I was just in the middle of it going, this is cool. It's really cool. I'm like, this is why I make movies.
Yeah. And so the thing with Artie is I always, when I talk to him, I call him Zio, uncle, because he's just such a good guy, and he's one of these guys, he gives his heart to a project, but he understands how much work goes in. I actually owe him a phone call, but that's what makes this process so beautiful. That's where Julie and I are really on the same page, that Julie has a knack. She does a lot of the casting, and she has a knack not only for talent, but for people that are going to bring, their A game. So Anthony Coppola, he was an actor I worked with for the first time recently in the last episode of Smack Immigrant, and another great talented guy, just someone like you'd actually hang out with. And you're right. Someone breaking in.
I heard like a pop. I heard a pop. I heard a pop. It was like one of my lights one day just popped out of nowhere, and so I thought that's what I heard, but who knows?
Dude, I thought you were getting robbed, man. I said,
what? Now, who'd want to rob me? Actually, the other night I was telling someone, I was watching all these. I know some people that do those ghost hunter shows. And some of the ghost hunters I know. So I was watching their new shows, like late at night. I couldn't sleep. I'm watching it. I'm here by myself, and all of a sudden I have this big bookshelf, and out of nowhere, I've lived here for 10 years. Out of nowhere, the thing just collapsed. I was like, oh my God. I jumped out of my seat. I'm like, ghost.
That's insanity. Yeah.
You can't make it up. You can't make this stuff up. It just happens.
Well,
And it's like,
to your point, man, like it's interesting because I'm all about thought-provoking and dark films, but as of right now, I'm trying to watch a lot of comedies because there's so many people that are anxious right now, and like you talk to people and they're panicking. Did you get a chance to watch The Last Dance on ESPN?
no, I haven't. Someone was just telling me I should watch it. Yeah, I got to watch that. So I heard it was really good.
It's really good. 10 episodes.
I was just I finished watching Ozark. That was one of the Ozark. You see that show?
I watched season 1. I haven't had a chance to continue.
Oh, it's so good. It's so
Everyone
good.
Loves it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that's one person I'd love to work with one day. Jason Bateman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah. But it's just so well done. And I'm like, when you watch something like that, when it's over, it's like I want to sit down and write. And then I had so much other stuff to do, but it's like I want to sit and write right now, you know? So
I mean that's the goal here. But I listen to a lot of international news channels, and I was listening to an Argentinian station, and they were like, what's happening with cinema right now? You can't do a love scene because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
2 actors can't kiss on camera.
It'd be like the 50s again, where they have to put one foot off the bed or something.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that to me is crazy, and that's what's cool about someone like you, that we like our own projects, but you're very excited about good movies, and I'm very critical of the New York City film scene because people are so competitive, and there's this need to like be famous and have all eyes on you, where you got to collaborate. There's people, I could edit my movie, but I look for an editor who's better than me. With Julie, I ask Julie all the time. I'm like, rewrite this script. I want to share the credit, but a lot of credit mongers out there.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like to have fun and have the team. To me, it's a team effort. So,
well, a great movie is, I've seen some really cool stuff at your festivals, and in fact, the movie that you were in, talking about festivals and I've been to hang out to your shorts in the Brightside Film Festival, but the movie that Dennis shot where you were the gym teacher, what was that?
Oh yeah, Death and Disco Fries. That's free on YouTube as well.
Dude, that movie. So like, to show you that I walk my talk.
Yeah.
I watched that movie. I didn't know who Dennis was.
No.
So at that point I go up to Dennis and I'm like, I have an idea. Can you make this idea look like that? Because he's so talented, as a DP. And that's thanks to your festivals. I said, Katrina Mitchell, I met at your festival, and that led to a friendship. I was in Vegas. I watched Mike Vetsa win Best Actor. Oh, yeah. We were in Vegas together. And then, her Cutting Room Film Festival. So, like, a good festival with good people, it has this compounding. It's a good earthquake, as a compounding effect.
That's why I love festivals, because it's just I love watching people's films and meeting people and having a good time. So I really got into the festival thing, and you go to the festivals, you enjoy it. I wanted to go to Vegas. So you like the Vegas one, huh? I wanted to go this summer, but
I mean, she gave out these trophies at the Venus Film Festival because she's an artist that were like gorgeous. They were these marble statues, and someone could say, oh, how vain are you to talk about a trophy? Well, like, you're traveling across the world. It feels nice to get across the country, rather. It feels nice to get the recognition, but these things were beautiful, and that's from a film. That's from a film director who's really saying, I value the people there. And just like you guys, you guys are always pumped, and you give a lot of recognition, you give a lot of awards, and that's, for us as independent filmmakers, that's our bread and butter. We're saying, hey, look, somebody out there likes our stuff. It's not saying, look how great I am. You're saying, I made this project, I put it on a credit card, and guess what? Someone doesn't think it's trash. Someone likes it. And that's very exciting. So
I really do like it when an audience likes your film. Like when people, I might go away or might not watch it, but I like to watch the people's reactions for Death and Disco Fries, how if they laugh or don't laugh, or
I thought you were
things like
great
that.
in that movie, man. I thought you played, you killed it as a gym teacher. I thought that was just a really cool concept. I thought it was a gorgeous, gorgeous little film, and you guys rocked out with quite a few awards. But yeah, that's a film that sticks out in my head as just a cool concept, shot well. I mean, I think there's so many people that want to make their movies look good, but there's no story. So to have the two things meet is big.
Cool. So, what do you have? Anything other? Well, so you're editing and you're going to put together
The documentary
as a feature.
is called.
It's a feature documentary.
Well, it's a mockumentary. This is something that I kind of invented. So we took the 4 episodes of Smack, okay, and I used them as flashbacks in a mockumentary about how Craig, who plays the crooked cop, the last episode we shot, he gets arrested by his partner. So he decides he's going to go out on the street on his own dime and tell the world what the true story is. So we went around Staten Island, Craig and I had my camera out, and we're like in all the hot spots. We went in front of the Staten Island Yankee Stadium. We went in front of a lot of the graffiti shots. I grew up, loving Wu-Tang, great Wu-Tang mural. We went down, we're shooting all this stuff, and Craig, he's just telling his side of the story. So I weave this guerrilla filmmaking, super sporadic mockumentary with flashbacks into the 4 episodes we shot. And I think it's something special, man. It's definitely something, I have a habit of sending out private links to friends of mine to see their reactions. So that we're going to be pushing that soon. I mean, I'd love to be shooting during this time, but I don't know. I guess it's not socially responsible.
Well, I know you got a lot of ideas. We're always talking ideas, so we're always brainstorming stuff together, even whenever we see each other.
Well, I want to make this. I want to make this movie with you about these 2 Irish brothers, and one fakes his own funeral.
There you
go.
That's
right. I want you to play one of the brothers, man. I'm all about that.
Yeah. It's one thing I was just thinking about the other day when, I don't know, I guess my brain's sort of working during all this. I'm like, I never directed a play. So that's what I want to do. I want to direct a play one of these days. If we ever get the chance to get into a theater again.
That's a lot of work, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I know. Maybe next summer, because, I know the whole school year is going to be busy. Maybe next summer. I thought this summer would be a great time to do it, but I can't do it. So, but that's another, one of those goals. Whatever, we'll see, right?
People that are into theater, they're purists. I have a lot of respect for it. It's just, I got in an argument the other day with a buddy of mine who loves theater, and he says, I'm so shocked that you're not a theater guy. And I go, I can't imagine working as hard as I do, and then it disappears. With a film, I could go and hit play and say, yeah, it was hard, but it sticks around forever. And he goes, that's the whole point. So I was like, I'm not built. I'm not that nice of a guy to go out and do something only for that moment. I need to hold it and be able to revisit it.
Absolutely. Well, since it's almost time, it's basically almost time to come up. Do you have anything you want to promote out there? Any websites or where we can see your films again? So people will be, if they're listening now or listening later, can go check out some of your stuff or your websites or anything you want to promote.
Yeah, so definitely check out smacktv.net. We have a couple episodes up there for free. Pasquale's Magic Veal was probably our most successful short. As I said, if you go to YouTube and you type in Pasquale's Magic Veal space DJ Higgins, it'll come up. There's been some views on that. Santino space DJ Higgins. You can see our Russo brothers piece. Meet Mario, the short is on YouTube. Same thing. Meet Mario space DJ Higgins. On Amazon, we have Meet Mario. If you just type that in, that'll come up. It's on Amazon Prime. Or you can contact me on Facebook if you want to see anything. I'll send it to you for free, a link.
What I like to do for my students out there, sometimes if we have time, we really don't have time to show features that often, but if I find a time, I like to show them filmmakers that did a short and a feature, and then compare and contrast the feature with the short. That's something I always like to assign them to do. if I have
That's
a chance
cool.
to show a feature. Like say like, Christmas break is coming up soon and I have a little time, I'll try to do it then, or Easter break, some kind of break. Because usually we're always doing stuff where we can't show a feature, but I do show a lot of shorts. So you have a lot of shorts.
Yeah, man. Well, there's this mentality. I know I got to get off the air, but
That's all right.
I don't want to. If you have someone else coming up, I don't want to. But there's this mentality now that you made a short when you're making your next feature, and it's like Scorsese still is shooting short films.
He'll still shoot a short. Yeah.
Come on, man. Like if you're moving people. I'm about just telling a story, and I think the future is, and this is something no one wants to admit, the youngsters are now they're blocking, they're taking their camera, and they're filmmakers, man. Yeah. They're better filmmakers than half the filmmakers out there. And some of these things on Instagram are really good, and I'm learning from them.
I know, right? Me too. Well, my students, I got a few. It's exciting. I have a few that are going to film school next year. Every year it grows, so that makes me feel really good when that happens. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're guy." So it's always a good feeling when, "Oh, I got into film school. I'm going to film school." I'm like, "Yeah!" All right, there you go. But well, thanks for coming on, man. It was great talking to you. It goes by real fast on this show, and they can check it out later on YouTube as well as SoundCloud, and we'll be on my Facebook page on Cullen on Films.
All right, bro. I appreciate the love, man. Thanks again. Good luck with everything.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right, thanks, dude.
See ya.